It is 8:30, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Do a roll call. Attendance, City Attorney John Barr.
Present.
City Assessor Courtney Duggar.
Present.
I am here. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move. I move to approve the agenda.
Support?
Courtney?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now is the time for audience participation. Everyone will have 3 minutes to address the commission. To raise your hand while participating online, you can click the raise hand icon at the bottom of the Zoom screen or press *9 on your phone. So if anyone would like to address the commission, we'll have 3 minutes to do so. And please raise your hand and I'll call in order as the hands were raised. All right. Steve Pierce has his hand raised, so I'm going to allow him to talk. All right, you'll need to unmute yourself. All right, I'm going to start the 3 minutes now.
Good morning. In looking at the look notes that are attached to your agenda and the decision that you're being asked to make today, the mayor doesn't serve until the next general election. The mayor, who was sworn in just a couple of days ago, serves until the next general election where a replacement, a new mayor is elected, not just any general election. There is a way to solve the problem by party nomination. And in fact, the process is already defined. If a candidate who is nominated at the primary election in August cannot serve for any reason, death, decides to not to, the party, the county party, can make a nomination to appear on the ballot in September for the general election. So any party candidate that wants to run can be nominated in a process that's already defined. And the optics just look bad. The process that you've laid out that's defined in the memo decides not only the next mayor for 2 years, but by appointment of the council, not by the election of the people. With all respect to the members of the commission, 2 of the members of the commission serve in a contractual role to the city in contracts that are approved by the mayor and council. And so in some ways, the process defined, you're picking 2 members of council who will serve unelected by the members of the city. The purpose of the election commission is to facilitate elections by the people. And so any decision that you make today should be focused on how a process can be defined where the people elect the members that serve on the council. There is a way to solve this problem. And I would ask that instead of the process being defined as you are considering today, turn to the governor and ask her to schedule a special election. Could be in September. It could be in November for the primary, if you don't want to use the party nomination for primary. And then the next election, she can also schedule a general election to elect the mayor, or the mayor could be elected at the November election. So you could schedule, she could ask for a primary election to be run in September, and then the regular general election would elect the new mayor to serve. And then the people would decide who serves for the next 2 years. I think that that's the direction that the commission should take, and not take sort of a twisted approach of defining that it's any general election. I believe the mayor currently serves, the mayor pro tem, who now is the mayor, serves until the next general election where the new mayor is elected, not just any general election. I look forward to your deliberation and thank you for your time.
Okay, would anyone else like to address the commission? Seeing none, we'll move on to the discussion items. And I also see that members of the county commission or the county clerk's office are on. If it's all right, I'd like to promote to panelists County Clerk Larry Kestenbaum and Chief Deputy Clerk Ed Golembiewski. Oops. Okay, and I will read the resolution. Resolution number 2020-003. Whereas the former mayor resigned her seat on June 23, 2020, and whereas 2.05 D1 of the city charter states the mayor pro tem would like to take the seat of mayor until the next general election, and whereas the next general election is scheduled November 3rd, 2020, and whereas the city of Ypsilanti is one of 3 jurisdictions with partisan councils, and whereas MCL 168.631 requires that a special primary be held for a partisan office, and whereas the opportunity to file to run for a political party's nomination for mayor has passed, and whereas a process is needed in order to fulfill the remainder of the term expiring November 2022, and be it further resolved that the election commission approves the attached process on appointment of mayor to fulfill the term expiring November 2022. Can I have a motion?
I would so move. John Barr.
Second?
Second. Courtney Duggar.
All right, myself, the city attorney, city manager, met with the county clerk's office and an attorney from the Bureau of Elections with the state. And through discussion with those parties, this was the process that was advised by the state and the county clerk's office. It was a lengthy discussion, and then I prepared this memo for us to discuss now. I don't know if anyone from the county would like to add anything.
Larry Kestenbaum here, County Clerk. I apologize. I got here a couple of minutes late. I did not hear. When I came in, Steve Pierce was quoting a statute. I was curious as to whether, I'm sorry I missed the beginning of that, whether he outlined a viable approach for actually holding an election this year. I'm not, other than at the end where he spoke about asking the governor, which I'm not optimistic that the governor would pay much attention to Ypsilanti, I'm afraid. But was there another? I actually like to hear back again. What was that? The statute he was discussing at the beginning.
I can allow Mr. Pierce to talk again. And
Larry, I was saying not specific to the statute, but the process by which the county party can fill a position after the primary if somebody is not able to serve after the August election. My understanding is that the county party can then put forward a nomination that would appear on the general election in November. And so I said a similar process could be used this way to meet the need for a primary if you couldn't have a special primary election. And then anybody else could run as unaffiliated.
I see. I just the trouble is that the statute that provides for that only, as I understand it, deals with township government, not with cities. And I'm you know, I'm a little uneasy with making stuff up as we go along. But that was the process that I was asking when we had our meeting, whether that process could be adapted to this, and the folks from the Bureau of Elections ruled that out.
Mr. Barr?
Yes, John Barr here. First of all, I'd like to set the stage. The city of Ypsilanti is a home rule city, and we're governed by the state law, and we're also governed by the city charter. And the city charter has a number of provisions about elections, and it does have one provision about the election commission. And if I can find it here for a minute, the election commission is charged. Hold on a second. First of all, the charter indicates that other than the items in the charter, that the elections for the city of Ypsilanti have to follow the state law. That's Charter Section 3.03. And then, find it again here. The Election Commission in Section 314 provides that the Election Commission is created, and after some other things, it says where the election procedure is in doubt, which is what we have here, the Election Commission shall prescribe the procedure to be followed. And so that's why the Election Commission is getting involved in this. When the mayor resigned, I received a number of different questions from council and from the staff as to what we would do. So I looked at the city charter, and the city charter says that, first of all, the mayor pro tem becomes the mayor. That's no problem. And then that there shall be an election to elect the mayor at the next general election. And so that's what I suggested that we do. Then there was a question, well, maybe we should have a special election. And I looked at that, and my interpretation was that the state law has been changed, and it's only the governor that can call the special election. And so I was comfortable with going ahead until the other day when the city clerk and I met with the county clerk and the state election board, and we discussed it in detail. And the the county clerk and the state election official brought up some interesting points. And one is that the city of Ypsilanti is unique among the state cities because the city of Ypsilanti has a partisan election. And that has to be taken into account in what we do. And the county clerk and the state election official indicated that if we don't give the parties the chance to nominate a candidate, that could constitute a flaw in the system. And so we debated it pretty much for an hour, I think, and finally came to the consensus that the outline that the city clerk has indicated would be the best way to solve all of the problems. And quite honestly, it's not intuitive, and I don't particularly like it, but I'm sorry that I must say that I think that we are constrained by the law and by the partisan nature of the elections in Ypsilanti, that's the process that we must follow.
I would agree with the city attorney's perspective on that. We did speak for some time, and while I don't think that anyone on this commission is necessarily happy that this would not be able to go to a vote of the people. Unfortunately, with the way the law is stated, there's really little other recourse that that could be followed. If we did hold an election and file for only independents, there is a potential that that outcome could be nullified through lawsuit. And that is not something that I think anyone wants. Is there any further comments on what's
Let me just say that I think all of us agree that this is not what we wanted to have happen, that we would all prefer, and we were struggling to find a way to have the election this year. And it just, the Bureau did say that if the city were to choose to have, they said, we don't think it's legal for you to have an election this year, but if you were to do it, we wouldn't stop you, so that's that they're not, it is really the city's call. But again, we would have to basically invent procedures if we were going to do this that are outside the law and outside the charter. And and in particular, the Democratic and Republican parties would be aggrieved if they didn't have a path to nominating a candidate, and I suppose. Well, anyway, that was a conclusion that we came to. If we could get the governor involved, or if you could get the courts involved, maybe there could be some improvisation that is outside of our authority. I'm saying our authority, I mean the Election Commission's authority to do.
Well, I would agree with Larry that as much as we would like to do something differently, we're obligated to follow the law.
All right, if there are no other comments from the commission or the panelists, I'm going to call the roll for resolution 2020-003. City Attorney John Barr,
Yes.
City Assessor Courtney Duggar,
Yes.
City Clerk Andrew Hellenga, yes. Motion carries. Does anyone on the commission have any proposed business?
I don't have any other proposed business, but I would indicate that at the meeting that we had with the county clerk and the state election commission, the state election bureau, that there was an idea that perhaps we should look at amending the charter.
Yeah, the comment was made to amend the charter to put a deadline that if a resignation were to occur after that deadline, it would go to the next, not the very next, but the general election following that.
Alternatively, if there was, the deadline could be later, if the charter provided for another way for partisan candidates to be nominated besides the primary under those circumstances.
So the next meeting date is to be scheduled to appoint the inspectors for the August primary, and that will be forthcoming. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Is there support?
Support.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Meeting's adjourned at 8:49.
Thank you. Everyone have a good day.
You too. Happy Friday.
Take care, everyone. Thank you to the county for being present.
Yes, absolutely.